Hi, my name is Craig Else, and I'm an atheist. Why? I find no evidence for a God. To not believe in a God is similar to not believing in the tooth fairy or unicorns or something like that. You don't call yourself an a tooth fairyist. You just don't believe. I was brought up, my mother was a Catholic, my father was an Anglican, and my mother was a lot more religious than he was because Anglicans are a little more relaxed in that way. And even within those parameters, my father was more relaxed than most. So we didn't have a lot of religion in my household. I went to church on holidays. I went to a private school, so we had chapel on Sunday. Didn't mean much to me at that time. It didn't answer a lot of questions. It didn't seem plausible. So was I an atheist? I didn't have good reasons for being an atheist, but I would be what you might call an apathist in those days. In other words, I didn't care one way or another. Um, I think when I started really wanting to, I've always called myself an agnostic because I just don't have evidence one way or another.
Hmm.
As far as probabilities are concerned, there's probably, I feel, there's probably no God that is intervening in our lives and things like that.
Where do you believe morality comes from?
Yeah, that's a good question because the source of morality is really at the core of this issue. The people who are blowing people up are acting on moral impulses. As bad as the things that they're doing are, they're actually acting out of moral impulse. They're talking about Islam and things like that. They think that they're doing the right thing. Um, the question that you asked was about where does morality come from? For me, I have an interest in, I'm not a neuroscientist, but I have an interest in neuroscience and I like reading those kinds of books. And we see that our brains have evolved, again, a survival strategy. In a society, which is a closed system of society, a good survival strategy for us would be my well being is dependent on your well being, and vice versa. So we can stay alive. We have a built-in moral compass, is evident by the fact that if you look in Deuteronomy, Leviticus, these Exodus, and show people, religious people, the bad bits, the mean stuff, the bleeding, the killing, the all that stuff. They say they know that that's not the stuff that they like, most of them. So they have a built-in moral compass just to be able to tear those pages out and go, no, no, that's not a good one, but that one's a good one. The very fact that people are drawn to the Bible anyway shows how would they know that it's the good book? They know because they're comparing it against their own values. I think that you are what your brain does, and when your brain dies, you, as you know it, the emergent property of a self, the feeling of a self, it just ceases to exist. Evil is a difficult thing because if you have a cheetah chasing a gazelle, if it catches the gazelle and you asked the cheetah, was that a good thing? The cheetah would say yes. If you ask the gazelle, well, it would say no. You can tell their opinions by the direction in which they're running. So an objective morality is something that I don't think is rational.
Believers always rely on faith to get through their difficult times. What is it that gets you through?
The difficult times, well, faith is something that you invoke when reasons fail. So I'm not sure that it would be available to me to have faith because I I like to uh, be I like to believe things for good reasons. So the utility of a belief, such as there's a God that's going to get me through, is not available to me because it's just it just doesn't seem to be true. So if I mean if I could convince myself that I was going to see my sister or my grandmother in the next life, that would be a comforting feeling. But there are a lot of comforting things that just aren't true. I like open and respectful dialogue, but there isn't open and respectful dialogue in this case. There seems to be a very dogmatic insistence that people believe what these individual religions believe. Now, a good case in point would be as an atheist, I drive around with license plates that say atheist on them. If I lived in Mauritania, Maldives, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Malaysia, Iran, Sudan, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, I face the death penalty for being an atheist. I don't know of any uh, anywhere that a Christian will go that, or a Muslim. Those are all Muslim countries, by the way, where an atheist will do something like that to them. We
Why,
don't fly planes into buildings at 400 miles an hour.
why is it important for you to have a license plate that says atheist?
To um, to just have a face, to just have, it's similar to the gay thing when people we're encouraging each other to come out and say, look, we're here, we're part of society. We're not bad people.
Do you think that religious people see you as evil?
Yes, they see us as baby eaters and all that kind of thing. But the statistics show it to be the opposite way around. Where the least religious places in the world are the places with the highest ranking on what they call the happiness index. And when you hear someone criticizing religion, it's shocking. So it seems like they're being rude and that sort of thing. But if you look at the balance of the claims, there are claims that there is a God that intercedes and that sort of thing, and then there's a claim that there isn't evidence for that. That would be the atheist point of view. There isn't evidence for that. The the balance is very much in the favor of those who say that there is. So, I mean, you can look at statistics like there are 267,254 religious houses of worship, according to the American Religious Data Archive in the United States. There are 1,567 religious radio stations. The TBN alone reaches over 100 million households. 85,000 Mormons go knocking on doors in something like 350 missions around the world, translated into about 106, over 166 languages. So the ubiquity of the message that there is a God leads people to rely on those answers because of this. There's a thing called the availability heuristic, which is it's a shortcut that human brains do, where if you if you're presented with a topic where you have to decide about that topic, it's an easy thing to just bring up the last answer that you heard in society, whatever you just learned, or whatever you've heard the most often. Well, this is how life got here. I don't think of arguments as being bad things. I don't think, because if two people disagree about something and I'm right, if I'm one of them and I'm right, I stand to gain nothing. But if I turn out to be wrong, if that person convinces me that I was wrong, I've gained now. I'm a better person than I was before I went into that argument. So I like arguments. The problem is evidence-based belief systems are unifying in the way that if I present to you great evidence for something, we will, and you look at the evidence as well, we'll converge. We'll both say, yeah, I saw that too. But if it's a belief that's not based on evidence, there's no evidence that we could show to each other to draw each other in. So there's no way to have an argument with someone who just says, well, God said so. And that's it. It's sort of a conversation stopper. So you can't really have good arguments about that.